In this video, I'm talking about tripod heads. Now, when you buy a better quality tripod, the legs and the head come separately to allow you to get exactly the right combination that's suitable for your photography. So here we're going to be talking about the head specifically and what features you should look for when buying a head. Now, the first thing you need to look at is the maximum load capacity of the head and the legs as well, for that matter. Make sure that the model you're looking at can support the weight of the equipment you're putting on it. So do look in the specifications at the maximum load capacity. Now, one very useful feature that I always look for in a tripod head, although not essential, is a quick release plate. Now, this comes off the tripod and attaches to the underside of the camera and enables you to put the camera on and off the tripod very quickly. If you've got several cameras, you can have several plates, one on each camera, and you can swap from camera to camera and put them on and off the tripod in seconds rather than fiddling around with the screw all the time. Now, if you're into landscapes or architectural photography, for example, you might find it very useful to have a spirit level on the tripod so you can get the camera level. Although you can buy an accessory spirit level to fit in the hot shoe of your camera, it always is nice to have one on the tripod as well. Now, there are two main types of tripod head primarily used in still photography. There's also a different type of head used in video photography, but here we're primarily looking at still photography. And that is the pan and tilt type head and the ball and socket head. Now, with pan and tilt heads, each of the three main axes of movement are individually lockable. So, for example, to pan the camera left and right, you would have a lock for that. To tilt the camera up and down, you'd have another lock for that. And to swing the camera up into the portrait or landscape orientation, you'd have another lock for that. So to move the camera from one position to another position, you may have to lock or unlock several knobs at once. But on the other hand, you can actually move the camera just in one direction without affecting its placement in the other axes. Now, pan and tilt heads are perfect for sort of landscapes and architectural photography, where, for example, once you've got the camera locked off and level, you can undo just one knob to turn it left or right slightly or up or down slightly without affecting its positioning in the other axes. Now, ball heads are great with portrait photography, for example, where it's not quite so important that you have the camera dead level or dead straight and you want to be able to move it around at different angles quickly. Now, some ball heads do have a separate lock to allow for a panning movement. So, for example, on this one, you can lock it generally in position, but you can still move it left or right using this lock here. Now, this one, for example, has a tension adjustment knob, so you can control how loose it becomes when you unlock it. So if you've got a heavy camera and lens on, for example, you may not want it just to flop down suddenly. You may want to adjust the tension so that it's a little bit stiffer. Some of the newest ball heads try to combine the best of both worlds, the speed and flexibility of a ball head, but also the ability to lock off the camera at a dead level position that you get with the pan and tilt head. Now, they do this by putting a notch in the ball head. So when you want that to find the vertical position, on this one, for example, there's a switch here, and as you move the head up, it locks into that position. You know at this point that the camera is dead level, and that's great for things like landscapes and video photography. So that's tripod heads in a nutshell. First, decide on the load capacity that you need for the equipment that you have, and then choose either a pan and tilt head or a ball and socket head, depending on the kind of photography that you do and your personal preferences. Don't forget that the head is only half the tripod, the other part is the legs, and if you haven't seen our video on tripod legs, then do check that one out too.